Doofuss here today. Got something new for you on the bench. We're going to be doing a little bit of a build series. We kick this off today and run it over the course of the next couple of days. And I'll document it all for you, and we will see how it goes, right? In the end, we'll have a nice build to go and run, and we'll get some video and things like that, and I'll give you some thoughts and commentary on the build itself as we go along. And of course, then at the end, how she runs, right? So today we have this. I picked this up here at the hobby shop, Thornhill. We've got a Tekno MT48 2.0. I picked up the CSC. I really wanted to try one in my racers, and I'm kind of hesitant to throw it in a race car and run it until I try it out and burn it in a little bit, right? And I'm also going to put this truggy can in it if it'll fit. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I guess let's get right into it, huh? I'm going to come back to the ESC in a minute. We'll open that up and we'll do a little bit of an unboxing there, and we'll do that kind of as a part of the unboxing with the kit itself, because I want to throw some E6000 on this ESC into the plate, so it'll be ready for when I can put it in the car. So we'll unbox the Coyote along with the rest of it as we go here, guys. So, full disclosure, I race Teknos. I've got a truggy, a 2.2 truggy, ET48, right? I have EB48 2.2, and then I run an NT48 2.2 as racers. And then I also have a MT410, the previous monster truck, going back a couple of years, the first generation, I guess, of the MT410, which was just a few parts away from being an ET48.3, right? It was only a few parts away from being a racer. I actually turned that into a racer for some time before I got the updated kits. That was my first truggy, right? Was a monster truck kit that I just bought a new chassis and a drive shaft for, and raced it. The only thing that I really changed on that thing to race it was somebody gave me metal shock caps, because the monster truck kit came with plastic. Somebody gave me metal shock caps, and I ran that. Thanks to Mr. Reggie Tung on that one. Yeah, so I race Teknos. My kid races Teknos. He has both an electric and a nitro buggy, 2.2 both. And we've got a stable of builds over the course of the last few years. I think I've probably done 8 or 9 builds of Teknos. So as we go along here, I'll try to do a little bit of a compare and contrast, right? And give an idea of what the differences are maybe between some of the racers and this kit. Maybe some commentary along the way, about design choices, things of that nature, a little bit of review as we build. And some folks had also asked for some additional information around, things like how to set the mesh and, make sure everything is set up right, and so to, be ready to go and be durable for you. So I'll try to deliver those tips kind of along the way, and see what we can come up with. So let's jump into this, right? I have not opened this, so this will be fun. Factory sealed, ready to rock. Oh, it doesn't want to come out. Oh, because it's taped to the side. Oops. That should be better, yeah? Yeah. All right. I love these setups, man. You know, you have a bag, you know, with half of your kit in it, and a bag with another half of kit in it. And I tend to use the bags for trash as well. Look at these springs. Nice blue shinies. Those are fancy. I wasn't expecting all that. Very nice. Oh, these side guards and everything are really nice too. All right. Go Tekno. So bag A through G looks like. Some oils for your diffs, some thread lock grease you'll need for your differentials setup, the gearbox setup, shock oils. Oh, we have 100K, 200K for diff oils. That'll be fun to squeeze out. You have to be careful sometimes with these really heavy oils in these bottles. Sometimes if you squeeze too hard, the nozzle will shoot out and then you just have oil everywhere. It's a little bit messy, so I'll keep an eye on that when I get there. I'll make it a point to make a comment there when we go to build these diffs in a minute. And the chassis plate, huh? Look at this thing. Oh man, black, anodized. Whew. That is sharp. Man, 4mm, nice and sturdy. Wow. Well done. Manual and some stickers. Nice stickers too. Use one of those MT48 stickers down the side of the truck, huh? I don't know if we're going to need the manual. We'll try to go as far as we can without it and see what happens, huh? Be worth a shot. All right. Let's go. I'll leave this up here. And we won't need these for a little while, so I'll just leave these to the side, maybe over here. Like I said, I like to use this big bag as storage for the trash from all my little bags. So I tend to dump these things out, and then I'll just refill this big bag as I go. It also helps me keep track of, you know, all my trash is in one place, right? And so if I leave a screw in a bag or something like that, you know, all my bags are here and they're not in the bin already, and I don't have to go searching, right? I mention it because it's happened before. If I haven't made that mistake myself sometime in the past, I would have at some point in the future. All right. We're going to start with bag A and bag B. What do we have here? Bag G and H. Oh, chassis plate and the bumper mount, huh? Very nice. Very nice. All right. Ackerman plate. It's funny the Tekno give you like the same Ackerman plate that they use for other kits, right? And they're adjustable. So like, you know, you can tune your steering just like you would on a racer, right? You know, a servo saver that you can tune just like you would on a race kit. I love Tekno for that stuff, man. So yeah, so I'll try to do some little compare and contrast here as we go along and kind of talk about how things line up with the race kits. You know, and maybe even we could talk a little bit about tuning options and things like that as well. So we'll do bag A and bag B here at the start and go from there. I grabbed this Tekno tool tray model off of the internet somewheres. I find it, I'll put a link to it in the description here. You can make your own. I did blow it up a little bit and obviously had a little bit of a bad print, but you know, it works. I like to, when I open these bags, I like to break the parts into the different sections here. And like I said, make sure that I don't lose any screws or anything by keeping all the bags together. All right. We'll come back to bag B. So differentials, always a fun build. All right, so differentials. Let's go. We're gonna need some oils, huh? You know, I will have to consult the manual for one thing, and that is to see which oil they want in the front, center, and rear diffs. I'm gonna guess they're gonna go 200 in the middle and 100 front and rear, but that's just a guess. Let me take a look. I did have to look in the manual for something, huh? So 200 for center and 200 front, 100 rear. I love these Tekno builds. I can't overstate it. When you're doing diffs, always remember to put the bearings on first. I forget sometimes, and I'll put the whole diff together, and I'll have forgotten the bearings, which means that I have to take the entire thing back apart and put it all back together. What a pain. I like to take a little dab of oil and put just around the edge here, just so the gasket has something to stick to. Otherwise it tends to like spin around and it's not desirable. Yeah. So I put a little dab of oil and then come back and put the gasket on and try to line up the holes and keep them lined up. And let's see, this way, like, you know, it's kind of stuck there, right? Plus, you know, some oil soaking into the gasket, and that's probably a good thing too. As far as these, you know, again, make sure you get the bearing on before you put the outdrive cup on, or else you're in trouble. And like, I've made the mistake so many times that it's not even funny. Yeah, don't do that. Let's go with rings. You want to take a little bit of grease. I'm sorry, Tekno, I'm not following your instructions right now, maybe. But I promise it'll come together. So a little grease. And then insert those rings into these little cups in the spur and the outdrive, or the cup, diff cup. That little bit of grease will help keep things moving nice in the ring and everything like that. Here again, make sure you put your bearing on. And then you'll bring your drive cup. You want to take this little groove and fill it with grease all around as you go. And you'll do this with all of the cups for the build. Make sure you just get a little grease in that groove. And then just insert the outdrive cup into the hole there. Might pop the O-ring out and just put it back in. No big deal. And then you'll bring one of these big washers and put that over the cup end there, and you push that down to get that O-ring sat down in the cup. And then from there, I like to use little needle nose pliers, which I don't have handy, to grab these little drive pins. And so these little drive pins that go through this hole in the cup, right? And so you want it to come through like that as you're putting it. So you'll find the hole in the side. Oopsie, don't lose his pin. Very important not to lose the pin. Find that hole. These are not the best pliers for this job. But it's just chop right in there. Like that. Perfect. Then you'll take your sun gear, put that in, press it down around the outdrive cup, and it should catch the ring in that little groove that cuts across the bottom of the sun gear. Like so. So then you'll take these cross pins, and each one of these cross pins will get a planet on each side and a washer on the outside. Now these are slotted such that they'll only go in the diff cup up or down. And they cross in the center. So there's a little cutout you see in the drive pin that allows for the next one to lay across it like this. You want to make sure that first one is set up so you can drop the other pin in and get that in the right spot as well. And it should look like this. You should have the cutout there for the next pin to come in. All right. And we'll get to the other side next. So drive cup. So planet, washer. Oops. And washer. And again, these are only going up and down. So you want to make sure that you're heading the right direction when you put it in. So this one you turn over, and we'll fit in like so. So now we have some spinny gears. Let's get some oil in this guy. What do we say? 200 for the front, or for the front and the center, right? Again, these bottles with this really heavy oil, is sometimes you can get impatient and you see it like it squeeze out like sideways. I mean, like it's that thick. I don't know if you can see that. It is. How's that? Look how thick that is. I mean, it almost stands on its own, right? It's so thick. Anyway, you can get impatient while you're waiting for the oil to actually come out because it is so thick. And you try to squeeze harder to squeeze it out. And what happens is that whole nozzle fire out the end, and you've just made a giant mess of really heavy oil. And it's hard to wipe up because it is really heavy oil. So just be patient. I think this might be the heaviest oil I've ever put in a diff. Just maybe. I mean, this is insane. It's like, it's thicker than honey. It's kind of fun to play with, I won't lie. What would you call this, laminar flow? I feel like there's a name, like a scientific name for this sort of phenomenon where liquid, it might come out and like has enough tension to sort of coil up on itself. Even water does it. It's just you can't really see it because it happens so fast. Go look up like slow-mo guys or something like that. Maybe Smarter Every Day. I've seen some stuff like that where they talk about these flow states. It's pretty interesting stuff. I think fluid dynamics is interesting stuff. Well, that does not move at all. Squirt some down on the side, maybe. Or actually go down in there if I force it. It doesn't seem to want to flow anywhere. It's so funny. They show you a picture and say, like, fill the diff to this level, right? And I'm trying to figure out how you're supposed to know what that level is when the fluid is so thick that it'll never flow down in there. Maybe if I give it a tap. Oh man, that's so heavy. This thing ought to rip. Wheelies and everything, huh? Squirt some oil down in the sides there. I mean, I guess it'll eventually flow into all these places, but I don't know. I feel like I probably better force it before I close it up, you know? Maybe the idea is just to wait 3 days for it to settle in and then close it up later. I mean, that's just insane. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's awesome, but it's really crazy. I mean, I don't know if you can see. It's like I've seen videos of people like blowing glass, and it seems very similar, like flowy, thick stuff, man. Crazy. All right, that's enough playing. We'll let that settle in and build the other side of this thing. All right, so grease on the ring. You can put the washer first here if you want, or not. You know, your call. and grease in that groove in the outdrive cup. And then you just put that, make sure your bearing's there. And then just push that through, and then you're going to want to grab that drive pin. Stay. Okay. New drive pin here. Oh, it's stuck to my finger.
Alright, so here's the deal. While I was filming bags A and B, my laptop decided it needed a nap. It kept recording, but not video. So, you're about to see a bit of a rewind and replay situation. I took the diff apart, reassembled it, and tried to remember what I was saying before I goofed. Lesson learned. Won't happen again. Let's keep going.
Alright guys, so I made a little bit of a mistake, and I did not finish recording the rest of bag A and bag B. Sorry about that. However, I did pull apart one of these diffs again to set it back up, mostly because I wanted to talk about the some of the differences here that we didn't see in the center diff. The center diff was basically the same as what we run in our racers. You know, they had washers on the outside of the planet gears, which is exactly what we put in our center diffs, in racers as well. The big difference here is this cross pin for the gears. It's a plastic cross pin. What's interesting about it is the gears are actually pretty tight to put on. There's a lot of resistance to put these gears on the end of the cross pins, even with oil on them. And there's quite a bit of friction in rotation as well. My assumption is that that'll run out, but to start, it seems pretty stiff. And I'm sure that's probably across the board. You'll probably have the same experience if you do one of these builds. But yeah, it takes some effort, right? I would think that these things would just slide right on and they would be free to spin, but there's definitely some friction there. And not from the oil, right? Like there was friction on the, you know, when I first put it together. It was surprising, but it seems to be, you know, expected. So you place the planet gears on the cross pin like that. And when you're building this, you know, again, I sometimes these bearings will slip off the back of the cup and I forget about them. It's happened to me today, actually, and I recorded it earlier, or I thought I recorded it earlier for you, but I missed it. Make sure you get these bearings on before you put the outdrive cup in. I've done it. Like, it means you have to go back and rework. It's just a pain. Yeah, for putting these together, simply, you know, we put a little grease, you know, this black grease that came with the kit on the O-rings, right? And put that O-ring down in the bottom of the diff cup, like this. And then one of these large washers drops in the bottom of the cup. And then you'll take these outdrive cups and squeeze some grease in that little groove that comes around the side. So a grease groove, I guess you could call it. I think that's what it's expressly made for, so maybe we'll call it that. I like to keep my finger and hold the washer and the O-ring in place, and insert the drive cup in there, and then I'll take just a 7mm box wrench and press it all the way on to make sure, before I go and put the drive pin in. These drive pins, the holes line up with the slots in the side of the outdrive cup, so you can use that as kind of a locator when you put these in. Let's see if we can find the spot. Nope, we can't. Uh-oh, where'd my pin go? A little bit of oil in here, so everything's stuck. This oil is so thick. What even? Okay. I just want to get that pin. It goes right through that outdrive, and then we'll put their sun gear right in there, and that outdrive pin will line up with the slot in the gear. So you just press that down, and I'll turn the outdrive until you feel it pop in. It'll sort of drop right into the slot as long as everything's lined up okay. Could be that my pin came a little loose. It doesn't seem to want to drop all the way on for whatever reason. Maybe my pin came out of my... Oh, there it goes. Perfect. Give that a spin. I'll place these planet gears and the cross pin. That looks like it works fine. What I'll actually do here is take these back out, and I'm going to put some of this oil down in the diff to get it ready. What we learned on the last go that I missed for you was that if you take the end off of this bottle, it actually pours much better. You can just squeeze this heavy liquid out right into the cup instead of using that stupid nozzle on the front that just is going to get in your way and take more time. This way just works better. And go. Perfect. Ooh, man, this oil. It's almost like squeezing it out, toothpaste out of a tube. It's so heavy. And this is the 100. The 200K is just so much thicker. Crazy. All right. And then for the other side, same sort of thing. You want some grease on your O-ring there. And in your grease groove on your outdrive cup. Make sure that gets in there good. And take your washer. Again, I like to put the washer on and hold it there with my finger and then drive the whole thing together. I've made the mistake. The mistake I cautioned everybody not to make. You see it, don't you? Don't you? Yeah. I forgot the bearing. Either it slid off or I forgot to put it off. Put it on. Yeah. Don't make that mistake. It's a terrible mistake. All right. And then I just put a little bit of oil there to hold my sun gear on while I put the whole thing back together, right? Oh, I forgot the drive pin, didn't I? You see what happens when you hurry. Oh, the washer came too. I don't need the washer there. We need the washer to stay. And then we need the drive pin. Aye. This oil is so thick that like everything sticks to it too. Crazy. There we go. Drive pin now. That would have been a bad day. I have the drive pin and the bearing. Only thing left is this gasket. Like I said, I'd like to put a little oil on the gasket just to get it so I can line it up with my screwdriver into the holes here, and then I kind of press it down onto the oil so that it doesn't move. And from there, right, it's just a matter of lining up the holes on the ring gear with the holes on the cup and pressing it on, and then you'll just go and drive your screws in. Oops. Hopefully we won't need this any longer. Keep these for the future. You do want to service your diffs periodically. On racing, unless the surface changes, I typically only service mine about once a month. If the surface changes, yeah, sometimes you have to make some changes in oils in order to, get to the optimal conditions for your car, right? We always try to make our car work for us, not us work for the car. Make it easy to drive. Sometimes that means doing some work like this. Yeah, but monster trucks, I mean, if you don't run it like we do racing, you could probably go months without changing diff oil. But you do want to change them periodically. It's great to open them up, take a look, inspect those things, make sure the gearing is still in good shape. You're not chewing up teeth or something like that, especially on bashers, right? Just like you do a lot of crazy things, like get something stuck up against a tree and try to do a backflip, right? Or, those things are pretty tough on a drivetrain. The backflips and, some people try to do self-righting on their cars, where like the car gets upside down and you mash the gas and then mash the brake to try to flip the car over. I think it was actually a terrible mistake myself. It's brutal on a drivetrain, right? To have all of that rotating mass like slamming from one direction to another. It's really a lot of load. I don't really understand why some of the manufacturers like offer that as an option. Reverse force should be pretty low, I would say. I use reverse to get out of trouble, and that's it. And in racing, we don't use reverse at all, right? It's forbidden on the track. You have to be marshaled. If you're practicing, you can use reverse, but reverse is forbidden on the racetrack for racing. But yeah, don't self-right your cars, your trucks. It's not a smart thing. Like I said, it just takes all that rotating mass of the tires and the wheels, everything, and it puts everything through these little gearboxes and those little gears and sun gears and so on, and man, you can shred things up pretty quick. So that's the front diff rebuilt. Went together pretty easy. The rear is exactly the same, so if you need to do the rear, just follow along the same steps. Yeah, and look forward to the next video. We'll get into bags C and D and continue the MT48 2.0 build. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next.